I found the wedding invitations while looking for a stapler in Linda's desk drawer, my future mother-in-law's desk drawer. Cream-colored cards with golden borders and elegant script announcing the marriage of her daughter Jenna to someone named Marcus Holbrook. The wedding date was 3 weeks away, the same date Jenna and I had chosen for our wedding 6 months ago. My hands started shaking as I read the details. The venue was the same botanical garden we had booked. The time was identical. Even the color scheme matched what Jenna and I had picked together during those long Sunday afternoons looking at Pinterest boards and arguing playfully about whether sage green was too trendy. But the groom's name was wrong, completely wrong. Because I am David Chen, and I had proposed to Jenna 14 months ago on a beach in California where we watched the sunset, and she cried happy tears and said yes before I even finished asking. I sat down in Linda's home office chair still holding the invitation. My brain could not process what I was seeing. This had to be some kind of mistake, maybe a draft from before Jenna and I got engaged. Maybe Linda had printed samples with a fake name to see how they would look. I opened the drawer wider and found 50 more identical invitations already stuffed into envelopes with addresses written in Linda's precise handwriting. I recognized some of the names, her college friends, her book club members, her tennis partners. None of these people were on our actual wedding guest list. The house was quiet around me. Linda had asked me to stop by to grab some old photo albums she wanted to digitize for our wedding slideshow. Jenna was at work. Linda was supposedly running errands. I had let myself in with the spare key they gave me last Christmas. Now I wished I had never come here. I wished I could unsee these invitations and go back to 30 seconds ago when my biggest concern was whether we had ordered enough chairs for the ceremony. I took a photo of one invitation with my phone, then I put everything back exactly how I found it and left the house. My car sat in their driveway, but I could not make myself start the engine. I just stared at the photo on my phone, reading it over and over. Marcus Holbrook. Who was Marcus Holbrook? The name meant nothing to me. Jenna had never mentioned anyone named Marcus. We had been together for 4 years. We told each other everything. We shared passwords and grocery lists and dreams about the future. She wanted 3 kids. I wanted 2 but said I could be convinced. We had already started looking at houses with good school districts. I finally drove home to our apartment in a daze. Jenna would not be back for another 3 hours. I sat on our couch surrounded by wedding planning binders and half-addressed save-the-date cards that we never sent because Linda insisted she wanted to handle the invitations. She said it would be her gift to us. She said she knew an amazing printer. She said it would make everything so much easier. Jenna had been relieved. Wedding planning was stressing her out, and her mother taking over one major task seemed like a blessing. My phone buzzed with a text from Jenna, just a heart emoji and a message saying she could not wait to see me tonight. We had plans to test cake flavors at a bakery downtown. The baker was staying late just for us. Jenna had been talking about this appointment all week. She wanted chocolate raspberry but was willing to consider lemon if I felt strongly about it. I felt sick thinking about sitting across from her eating cake samples while this information burned in my pocket. I needed to understand what was happening before I said anything. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe this was some elaborate surprise or inside joke I did not understand yet. I opened my laptop and searched for Marcus Holbrook. LinkedIn showed me 3 people with that name. One was 70 years old and lived in Maine. One was a college student in Texas. The third was 32 years old and worked in finance in our city. His profile picture showed a guy with perfect teeth and expensive-looking hair. He went to the same university as Linda. He rode crew and studied economics and now worked at some investment firm downtown. I clicked through his photos. There were pictures of him at charity galas and golf tournaments and fancy restaurants. In several photos, he was standing next to Linda, not in a casual way, in a deliberate way, like they were co-hosting events together. In one picture from 2 months ago, Linda had her hand on his shoulder and they were both holding champagne glasses and laughing. The caption said something about a successful fundraiser for the Arts Foundation. My stomach dropped further. I searched for any connection between Marcus and Jenna but found nothing. No shared photos, no mutual friends besides Linda, no indication they had ever met. I went back through Jenna's social media looking for clues I might have missed. Her posts were full of pictures of us, beach trips and hiking adventures and lazy Sunday mornings. She had posted a photo of her engagement ring the day I proposed with a long caption about how lucky she felt to have found her person. I was her person, not Marcus Holbrook with his crew team background and his finance job and his connection to her mother. The truth started forming in my mind, but I did not want to believe it. Linda had never quite warmed to me. She was polite but distant. She asked questions about my career as a high school teacher with a tone that suggested teaching was something people did when they could not do anything better. She made comments about how expensive the city was getting and how important it was to be financially stable before starting a family. She never said directly that I was not good enough for her daughter, but the implication hung in every conversation. Jenna always defended me. She told her mother that money was not everything. She said she loved that I was passionate about education and making a difference. She said we would be fine because we both worked hard and wanted the same things. Linda would smile tightly and change the subject. Jenna's father Tom was easier. He liked talking about sports and grilling and did not seem to care what I did for a living as long as his daughter was happy. But Tom traveled constantly for work and Linda ran the household. Linda made the decisions. Linda had the final say on everything. I thought about all the times Linda had inserted herself into our wedding planning. She had opinions about everything. The venue was not prestigious enough until she found the botanical garden through her connections. The caterer we liked was too casual until she introduced us to her preferred vendor. The photographer we wanted was already booked, but Linda knew someone better anyway. Jenna had been frustrated at first, but eventually gave in because fighting with her mother was exhausting. I had encouraged Jenna to set boundaries, but also did not want to cause family drama right before our wedding. Now I realized Linda had not been trying to help. She had been taking control. She had been steering everything toward her own vision, a vision that apparently included a different groom. I called my best friend Ryan. He answered on the second ring and I told him everything in one long, breathless explanation. He was silent for a long moment after I finished. Ryan finally spoke. "Dude, that is completely insane. Are you sure you read the invitation right?" I sent him the photo. He swore loudly. "What are you going to do?" Ryan asked. "You have to tell Jenna." "I know, I just need to figure out how. This is going to destroy her. Her mom is literally trying to marry her off to some other guy. She needs to know immediately." He was right. I knew he was right. But I also knew Jenna's relationship with her mother was complicated. Linda had raised her alone after Tom left for several years when Jenna was in middle school. They reconciled eventually, but those years had bonded Jenna and Linda in a way that made Jenna fiercely loyal despite her mother's flaws. Jenna made excuses for Linda's controlling behavior. She said her mom just wanted the best for her. She said her mom had sacrificed so much. She said her mom's love language was taking charge of things. But this was not love, this was something else entirely. Jenna came home at 6:30 carrying takeout Thai food and talking excitedly about the cake tasting. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the printed invitation in front of me. She stopped talking when she saw my face. "What is wrong?" She set down the food and came over to me. "David, you are scaring me." I slid the invitation across the table. She picked it up and read it. Her expression moved through confusion to disbelief to something I could not quite identify. "Where did you get this?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Your mom's desk." I was getting the photo albums. Jenna sat down heavily in the chair across from me. She read the invitation again like the words might change if she looked long enough. "I don't understand. Who is Marcus Holbrook?" I told her what I had found online. The LinkedIn profile, the photos with her mother, the connection through the university. Jenna listened with her hand over her mouth. When I finished, she stood up and walked to the window. She stood there for a long time looking out at the street below. The Thai food was getting cold on the counter. The apartment was so quiet I could hear the clock ticking in the bedroom. "She has been setting this up." Jenna's voice was flat. "She has been planning this for months. If you are invested in what happens next, please hit that like button and subscribe. It means the world to me and helps me share more stories like this." Now back to what happened. "Tell me what you are thinking," I said gently. Jenna turned around and her eyes were red, but she was not crying yet. She was too shocked to cry. 6 months ago, my mother introduced me to Marcus at a charity event. She said he was the son of an old friend. She said she thought we would get along. I had one conversation with him about nothing important and then I left because I had plans to meet you for dinner. She brought him up a few times after that, asked if I wanted to get coffee with him, said he had asked about me. I told her I was engaged and she dropped it, or I thought she dropped it. I felt cold all over, but she didn't drop it. No, Jenna laughed, but there was no humor in it. She just changed tactics. She started planning my wedding to him instead. "We need to confront her." I stood up. "We need to go over there right now." Jenna shook her head. "Not yet. I need to think. I need to understand what is happening here." "We know what is happening. Your mother is trying to sabotage our wedding so she can force you to marry this Marcus guy." "But why?" Jenna's voice broke. "Why would she do this? I know she has issues, but this is completely deranged. This is not just overbearing mother behavior. This is something else." I did not have an answer. We sat in our apartment and let the enormity of it sink in. Jenna finally opened her laptop and found Marcus Holbrook's profile. She studied his photos with a clinical detachment. He is exactly the type of guy she always wanted me to date. Jenna scrolled through his education history. Ivy League, finance career, country club member, probably comes from money. My mother has a very specific vision of success and you don't fit it, no offense. None taken. I had always known this. I just never imagined Linda would go this far. Jenna kept researching. She found articles about Marcus's company, awards he had won, charitable foundations he supported. Every discovery seemed to confirm what we already knew. Marcus Holbrook was Linda's dream son-in-law. I was the disappointing reality. Jenna closed her laptop and finally started crying. I held her while she sobbed into my shoulder. All those years of trying to make her mother proud, all those times she defended Linda's behavior to friends and family, all the compromises and concessions and careful navigation of her mother's moods and expectations. And this was how Linda repaid her, by literally trying to replace her daughter's chosen partner with a stranger. "We have to tell your dad," I said when Jenna's crying slowed. She nodded. "He is in Atlanta until tomorrow. I will call him then." "What about the invitations? She has already addressed 50 of them. What if she mails them?" Jenna wiped her eyes. "She won't mail them yet. She is too methodical. She will want everything perfect first. We have a little time." But we spent that evening on high alert anyway. Jenna called her mother and asked casual questions about wedding planning. Linda sounded cheerful and normal. She asked about the cake tasting we had missed. She reminded Jenna about a dress fitting scheduled for next week. She gave no indication that anything was wrong. She was either a phenomenal actor or genuinely believed her plan would work. After the call, Jenna looked at me with something like awe. She is completely committed to this. She really thinks she can pull it off. How though? How did she think this would actually happen? We started piecing it together. Linda had been slowly taking over every aspect of the wedding planning. She had the vendor contacts and the venue arrangements and the timeline. She had insisted on managing the invitations and the guest list. She had convinced us that she was making things easier when really she was positioning herself to swap out the details. The date and venue would stay the same. Most of the planning would stay the same. She would just swap the groom. "But you would have noticed," I said. "Obviously you would have noticed before the actual wedding day." Jenna thought about it. Unless she planned to tell me at the last minute. Maybe she was going to stage some kind of intervention. Tell me you had cold feet or left me or something. Make it seem like Marcus was a backup plan, a safe choice. She has always been good at creating narratives that make her look like the hero. "That is terrifying. That is my mother." Jenna called her father the next morning while he was waiting for a flight home. Tom listened to the whole story without interrupting. When Jenna finished, there was a long silence. "I am coming straight to your apartment from the airport." Tom's voice was tight with anger. "Do not confront your mother without me there. I mean it, Jenna. Wait for me." We waited. Tom arrived at 4 in the afternoon looking exhausted from travel and rage. He hugged Jenna for a long time and then shook my hand with more force than necessary. "Show me the invitation." He sat down at our kitchen table. We showed him the photo and told him everything we had discovered. Tom's jaw clenched as he absorbed the information. "She has completely lost her mind." He rubbed his face. "I knew she had strong opinions about your relationship, but I thought she was coming around. She told me she was excited about the wedding. She showed me seating charts and menu options. She never mentioned any of this. Because she knew you would stop her." Jenna sat next to her father. "You would never let her do something like this." Tom looked at his daughter with guilt in his eyes. "I should have been paying more attention. I have been traveling too much. I let your mother run things because it was easier than being involved." "This is not your fault, Dad. This is on her." But Tom did not look convinced. We drove to Linda's house together, all three of us in Tom's rental car because it felt safer somehow to arrive as a united front. Linda's car was in the driveway. The house looked normal and peaceful. The garden beds were perfectly maintained. A wreath hung on the front door. Nothing suggested the chaos happening inside these walls. Tom used his key to let us in. We found Linda in the kitchen making dinner. She looked up with a smile that faltered when she saw all three of us together. "What a nice surprise." Linda set down her knife. "I was not expecting everyone today." "We need to talk." Tom's voice was firm. "Living room now." Linda's composure cracked slightly, but she followed us into the living room. We sat down. Linda remained standing with her arms crossed. "What is this about?" She looked at each of us like she was trying to determine who knew what. Jenna pulled out the invitation. This is what this is about." Linda went pale but recovered quickly. "Where did you get that?" "Does it matter?" Jenna stood up. "You have been planning a wedding for me to marry a man I barely know. A man who is not my fiancé. What is wrong with you?" "I am trying to help you." Linda's voice rose. "You are making a mistake marrying him." She pointed at me. "He is a teacher. He will never be able to provide the life you deserve." "I deserve to make my own choices." Jenna was shaking. "I love David. We are building a life together. You do not get to decide this for me." "You are too young to understand." Linda turned to Tom. Tell her that I am right." Tom stood slowly. He was a tall man and suddenly the room felt smaller. "You have crossed a line, Linda. This is not your decision to make. This is beyond inappropriate. I am her mother's. That does not give you the right to sabotage her life. Tom's voice was getting louder. You have been lying to all of us for months. You have been planning some kind of deranged bait and switch. Did you really think you could swap out grooms like you are changing a centerpiece arrangement? Linda's face crumpled. I was trying to save her. David is nice, but he is not enough. Marcus comes from a good family. He has connections and money and prospects. He can give Jenna everything. Jenna's voice cut through the room like ice. I do not love Marcus. I do not even know Marcus. I love David. We are getting married in 3 weeks, our actual wedding, the one we planned together, and you are not invited. The words hung in the air. Linda looked like she had been slapped. You do not mean that. Linda reached for her daughter, but Jenna stepped back. I absolutely mean it. You have tried to control every aspect of my life since I was a child, who I dated, what I studied, where I worked. I have let you because I thought you just wanted the best for me, but this is not love, Mom. This is manipulation, this is toxic, and I am done. Linda turned to Tom desperate. Are you going to let her talk to me this way? Tom shook his head. She is right, Linda. You need help, professional help. This behavior is not normal. I was protecting my daughter. From what? From being happy, from marrying someone who loves her. Jenna was crying now, but her voice stayed strong. You were not protecting me. You were trying to live through me. You were trying to create some fantasy life where I marry rich and erase all your disappointments. Linda started crying too, ugly tears that made her face red and blotchy. I just wanted better for you than what I had. And that is sad, Mom. That is genuinely sad, but it is not my problem to fix. I am not responsible for your regrets. We left Linda crying in her living room. Tom said he would stay and deal with her. Make sure she understood the wedding to Marcus was not happening. Make sure she knew there would be consequences if she tried anything else. Jenna and I drove back to our apartment in silence. The next few days were a blur. Tom moved out of the house temporarily and stayed in a hotel. He said he could not look at Linda without feeling disgusted. Linda sent dozens of texts to Jenna, apologies and explanations and pleas for forgiveness. Jenna did not respond to any of them. We changed all our wedding passwords and contacted every vendor to make sure Linda could not make any changes. We found a new person to handle invitations and rushed to get them sent. Marcus Holbrook somehow found out what happened. He sent Jenna a message on LinkedIn apologizing. He said Linda had told him Jenna was interested in getting to know him better. He said he had no idea she was engaged. He said Linda had painted a picture of Jenna as single and looking for a serious relationship. He felt used and embarrassed. Jenna thanked him for reaching out and blocked him because the whole thing was too weird. The real invitations went out 2 weeks before the wedding. Several of Linda's friends called confused because they had received conflicting information. We had to explain that there had been a misunderstanding and only one wedding was happening. It was humiliating but necessary. Tom convinced us to let Linda attend the wedding. He said she was getting therapy and was genuinely remorseful. He said Jenna would regret it later if her mother was not there. Jenna agreed reluctantly on the condition that Linda sat in the back and had no role in the ceremony, no mother-daughter dance, no speech, nothing. Our wedding day arrived. The botanical garden was beautiful. Everything went smoothly. Linda sat in the last row wearing black, which felt deliberately inappropriate, but we ignored it. Tom walked Jenna down the aisle and his eyes were wet when he placed her hand in mine. We said our vows, we kissed, we became husband and wife. At the reception, Linda approached us once. She hugged Jenna stiffly and said congratulations. She shook my hand without meeting my eyes, then she left early claiming a headache. Tom stayed until the last song played. He danced with Jenna and told her how proud he was of her strength. That was 8 months ago. Jenna has a complicated relationship with her mother now. They see each other occasionally for lunch or coffee. Linda is supposedly still in therapy working through her control issues and her obsession with status. She has never fully apologized for what she did. She has never really explained why she thought it would work. Jenna has accepted that she may never get the closure she wants. Tom and Linda are separated. He said he cannot trust her anymore. He said the wedding scheme revealed something broken in their marriage that had been there all along. They are working out the details of a divorce. Jenna is sad about it but also relieved. She feels less pressure now that her parents are not pretending to be happy together. As for me and Jenna, we are doing well, better than well actually. We bought a small house with a big backyard. We are talking seriously about starting a family. We have game nights with friends and take weekend trips and build the life we always wanted. The life Linda tried to take from us. Sometimes I think about how close we came to disaster if I had not found those invitations, if I had not been looking for a stapler in that specific drawer on that specific day. Linda's plan was insane, but it was also methodical. She had covered her bases. She had created a plausible structure. If we had not caught it early enough, she might have caused irreparable damage to our relationship. She might have convinced Jenna that I had abandoned her. She might have positioned Marcus as the safe alternative. But we did catch it, we did stop it. And now Jenna knows exactly who her mother is. That knowledge is painful, but it is also freeing. She does not make excuses anymore. She does not twist herself into knots trying to please someone who cannot be pleased. She sets boundaries and enforces them. She chooses her own path. Our life is not perfect, but it is ours, built on choices we made together, not dictated by someone else's vision of what our happiness should look like, and that makes all the difference.
If you made it this far, you've got to hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And if you love hearing insane Reddit-style stories just like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I drop fresh stories every day. And trust me, the twists only get wilder. So like, subscribe, and join the community because you don't want to miss what's coming next.